Hey guys, welcome to No Filters, Just Freedom, the show for people who are ready to stop shrinking, start rising, and live with unapologetic audacity. My name is Jasmine, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to guide us all through this journey of bold, authentic living. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show where we dig into human emotions, because apparently just eat a snack and nap isn't always the answer. Today's topic: how to validate someone without selling your soul or pretending that their conspiracy theory about the abominable snowman living in Asia actually makes sense. Look, we've all been there. Your friend texts you, "My life is over," because Starbucks spelled their name Lawrence instead of Lauren. And you're like, yo, breathe. It's a latte, not a subpoena. But guess what? That's invalidation and it stings. So today we're gonna learn to do better, all while keeping our dignity. It's a game changer for so many relationships. So repeat after me. Validation isn't agreement. I repeat, validation does not mean agreement. Validation is like emotional WD-40. It doesn't fix the squeaky wheel, but it makes the ride smoother. Here's the deal. You can say, "Wow, that sucks," without adding, and you're 100% correct. Your opinion doesn't have to be the same or even matter when it comes to validating someone. Nobody asked you your opinion. The issue is, can you respect somebody for being where they are and why they feel the way they feel? When you care about somebody, when you're on the same page with somebody, when you're trying to grow with that person, it is not your job to be 100% hunky-dory, I'm right there with you, but to make them feel seen, to make them feel loved. And doing that requires a little bit of understanding on their part. I do not have to agree. You can agree to disagree, but still hold space for their stuff. It's the difference between "I see why you're mad" and "I too would like to egg your ex's car. Your ex don't mean anything to me. I'm not that invested, but I can see why you're upset and I understand where you're coming from. And I'm not going to tell you not to be upset." See, no agreement is required here. It's just an acknowledgement that the pain is understandable, even if it's not rational. Invalidation is like responding to "I'm sad" with "Have you tried not being sad?" Spoiler, it works as well as telling a hangry person you just need yoga. We all love that Snickers commercial where the person is like going crazy and they're like, "You're not yourself when you're hangry, eat a Snickers bar." You know, it's hilarious. We love it. It gets the job done. That being said, it's got this underlying understanding of invalidation to where whatever you're feeling and whatever you're dealing with isn't real because you wouldn't experience it if you weren't hungry. Totally not true. Totally not true. Now, the level at which you respond or your personal choices based off your feeling might not be the same. But at the end of the day, your feelings are still there. And what we need to do is validate and understand and make space for those feelings rather than say, "We'll do something different and you won't feel this way." True story. I kid you not, guys. I had a situation with some people that I was cool with back in the day where they invalidated me so hard that it destroyed what we had. So, semi backstory, my favorite Disney movie of all time is Beauty and the Beast. Hands down, Beauty and the Beast. I will argue you into the grave about why that movie is epic, why more girls need to love Belle, and she is a great example of what women need to be in this earth, and the music. And it's a tangent you don't want me to get down, okay? That road is a dangerous road for me to travel when I try to explain to people why I love this movie. Okay. That being said, when Disney decided they were going to do the live action version of Beauty and the Beast, I was so excited. Okay. I was so hyped. This trailer comes out 8 months before. I'm talking about it. Everybody around me that knows me knows that I'm super excited and hype about it. I got this date in my calendar. I'm going to see this movie. I don't care if I'm alone. I don't care if I'm somewhere open at night at midnight, nor do I care if I'm the only adult in this movie. I'm going to see this movie. It is probably the highlight of my year up until that point. Actually, if I am not mistaken, it came out like right before my birthday. So it was like a birthday gift to myself. I was hype. Okay. Now, a group of friends, and I actually wanted to go see this friend that we hadn't seen in a while. They're in the military. We had an opportunity to go visit them. Now, the time that we can go visit them falls on the same weekend that this movie drops, okay? So I say to my friends, look guys, we can do whatever we want. I don't care as long as I can go see this movie. I legit don't care. We can tear the town up. We can do whatever we want. We can drink until we're stupid. I don't care. As long as on opening night, I'm in a theater in that town. It's my only request. Everybody was like, yeah, sure, no problem. They laughed about it. We all laughed and joked. But I was also like, we're laughing, but I'm serious. I'm going to see this movie. Long story short, because they invalidated my feelings and thought I was being stupid and thought I was joking, they put me in a situation where I bought a ticket, could not go see this movie, and wasted money and did not have a chance to see this movie on opening weekend. When I tell you I was so hot, when I tell you how mad I was, I mean, there's a level of anger that I can barely describe to you, to the point of which again, not over exaggerating, we are not friends today. 2 of the people in this group I did not speak to after that weekend. I just didn't speak to them anymore because I was so upset that you didn't respect my choice and you invalidated my feelings that I didn't have time for you. Invalidation shuts down connections, okay? It's actually a scientific fact that your brain processes emotional rejection like physical pain. You hurt me emotionally, it feels like you just slapped me in the face. So when you dismiss someone's I'm stressed with stress is a choice, their brain actually screams fight or flight. Now, I'm a very aggressive person, so there's irony in the fact that I chose flight when these people that I cared about invalidated me. And suddenly I felt like, they were the villain in my Netflix true crime episode. How could you? How could you treat me this way? Why don't you love me? X, Y, and Z. And I was so hurt and upset. I didn't even want to fight with you. I didn't even want to argue with you. I didn't want to prove my point. I didn't feel like I needed to prove my point. I told you what I wanted. I told you where I stood. You treated me like crap because of it, and now I want nothing to do with you. I say this because we all know how old this movie was. I mean, we're talking about almost 10 years ago, okay? Maybe it was 10 years ago, guys. I'm not kidding. But I still hold fast to that, and I still haven't spoken to those people ever again. Because you hurt me, and I don't put people in my life that invalidate me. That's what it's like when you invalidate somebody. You will put yourself in a position where you can ruin relationships. So here's how you can validate someone without lying. You're gonna validate like a pro. And you might still side-eye their nonsense, but you're gonna validate them nonetheless. First thing you do is do what I call the oof method. So when someone's like, my date ghosted me, you can be like, oh, ghosting is the worst. Do you want a rant or do you want a distraction? It's a great way of meeting somebody where they are, understanding why they're upset while also not inserting your opinion. No one needs to know that you understand why that person got ghosted. No one needs to know that. No one needs to think about what did you do to cause that. No, none of that matters. This person is upset, this person is hurting, and I just need to know, do you want to rant about it or do you want me to talk about something different, like my favorite rock collection? Doesn't matter what, but it's unnecessary. I am the queen of the oof method. Okay? I am the queen of this. I am so good at looking at my friends and being like, what do you need from me in this moment? That is my go-to line, especially with my friends that tend to be more feeling and what the world would consider overly sensitive. I'll look at them in a heartbeat. They express themselves. They feel all they're feeling, emotions on 10. And I look at them and I nod and I say, okay, what would you like from me? Would you like my opinion? Do you just want to keep yelling and ranting? Which we can make space for that too. Do you want me to tell you a funny story about what happened last week with my family? What do you need? That is a great way of validating someone without agreement and putting your opinion into the situation. Another thing you can do is what I'd like to call the Wizard of Oz, okay? Things that you do in the Wizard of Oz. Shout out to Wicked coming out. I'm so excited about part 2. Don't get me started on that rant. You can say things like, I see that you're feeling, tell me more. Or you can say, you're feeling blank because blank. Did I get that right? You're essentially pretending that you are the scarecrow, okay? You don't have a brain. You're just listening, okay? I have no thoughts. I have no feelings. I have no understanding, okay? I am just here to listen. I'm just here to make space with you. That's it. That's all that matters. End of discussion. I don't have a brain. Now, if you want to beast mode it, you want the advanced level, you can start with some non-verbal validation where you're nodding and you're making eye contact and maybe even put a hand on the shoulder. That way that person feels seen. That person feels understood. That person feels like, hey, you are right here in the thick of it with me. You can give that to somebody while keeping your mouth shut, okay? And then when they're done getting it all off, you can validate the emotions, not the dumpster fire that comes with it. Hey, I keyed my boss's car. You know what? Anger makes people do wild things. So how was jail? Tell me about it. Like you can make space for someone being like, yo, I see how you did that. No one needs to know whether or not you would do that yourself. No one needs to know whether or not you thought that person was stupid because of the choice they made. Did nobody ask you that? What I know is that I have no business expressing myself in any other way other than what you need me to do for you in that moment. Okay? So in this moment, I'm looking at you going, I see how you got there. And man, those feelings are intense. Period. End of discussion. Nothing left to be said. Now look, validation does have its limits. Okay? It doesn't mean tolerating abuse or abandoning your values. So if someone says, the earth is flat, you don't have to nod and be like, your feelings are valid, Galileo's nemesis. Dude, if you don't agree, you don't agree. You don't have to sell your soul to the devil to make somebody feel good. You can try things like, that's a perspective. I don't agree, but maybe you can help me understand. That's a great way of having a conversation, lowering people's defenses without being like, man, that's a genius thought. Why didn't I think of that? Nope, completely unnecessary. You validate and you ask for understanding. Or you can also set a boundary. This is big when someone says something that goes against your beliefs, that goes against something heavy that you agree on, whether or not we're talking politics or religion, or for me, your favorite Disney movie. Don't start with me, okay? I got a boundary for that. You can look at someone and say, your anger makes sense, but I can't listen to you when you scream. My friends had to do this with me because I am a very emotional, semi-overly aggressive, depending on how I feel in the moment, kind of a person. And when you get me worked up and you get me amped about a situation that I'm very passionate about, my voice tends to go up a few octaves. Okay? I get a little more oomph in how I'm talking. Okay? I get a little louder. The decibels tend to go up. All right? And that turns a lot of people off. It does not matter if I'm telling the truth. It doesn't matter if they agree with me. They can't hear it over my aggression. And while that completely aggravates the mess out of me, and I think that it's stupid and you need to get yourself together, and my thoughts and opinions on that don't matter, I can validate the fact that my aggression and anger turns people off. So if I don't want to do that to the people that I care about and to the people that I love, then yes, I totally can bring myself back, reel it back in, be like, you know what? This is a very passionate topic for me and I'm getting a little bit overworked. Can we come back to this? Or my friends looking at me going, hey, you're doing a lot. I understand that you feel the way you feel. Can we come back to it when we're calmer? And I'm like, you know what? You right. That was a lot. That was real intense. That's a great way for relationships to give and take, to make sure that we validate each other, even when we may or may not agree with the situation that's happening. These are the things you fight for when you're trying to grow and maintain healthy relationships. These are the things that you want to have set up so that, because everyone isn't the same. We all have different opinions and perspectives. So you want to have these things so that you don't lose great relationships and great friendships that you want to have just because you have differing opinions. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to break a really good thing just because, my favorite color is blue and your favorite color is red. That's not the end all be all. What do you mean you don't like broccoli? I love broccoli. What are you talking about? What do you mean that you're a vegetarian and you only eat meat? These are not reasons to lose relationships over. But you can lose a relationship if you belittle and make somebody feel like crap for their choice that you don't agree with. One of the things I had to do when I was younger, especially in college and everything else, I love beer. And I won't just say I love alcohol because I don't want to sound like a lush and I'm not an alcoholic, but I really do like beer. Okay, I like beer and bourbon. So if you give me a choice, I'm asking for one of those two things. And I knew some people and I had some friends that didn't like to drink. Forget didn't like beer, forget didn't like liquor. They didn't like drinking. They didn't want to drink. They'd rather live their entire life sober. Y'all, that's crazy work to me. That's crazy work. There are so many times in my life where I have just been like, you know what? I think I need a drink. This drink is not going to fix anything, but it is going to bring me back down to earth because I can't. My brain is on 10 and I need to reel it back. I'm about to have me a drink. And I know people that are like, no, I don't believe in drinking. I think it's an unhealthy life choice. You know, I think that it's a scapegoat. And if you learned how to handle your life better, I mean, I've heard all the excuses in the world. And again, you can invalidate on both ends. Just because I like to drink does not make me an alcoholic, okay? And just because you don't like to drink doesn't make you a weird loser that has no purpose in this earth. Two extremes that are completely unnecessary. We have to meet in the middle. And so I used to struggle with giving space for validation for something as simple as you don't like to drink. But then I'd get upset when they invalidated me for what we were feeling. And it just causes stagnation in those relationships. You can probably find plenty of these things happening in your daily life, not just with coworkers or friends, but even your partnerships. Everybody has a partner that does something that's completely out of left field for them. My husband, my mom calls it picking and choosing your battles, okay? I don't know how, but my husband manages to put his dirty laundry right next to the hamper. Not in the hamper, not in a different room, but like right next to it. And it irks my spirit because how it was 3 feet from you. How could you not? He doesn't do it all the time. But he does it just enough to where I'm picking up socks and I'm like aggravated, okay? Like I'm aggravated. But you know what? While I do not agree with his choices, what I can understand is that my husband is a firefighter who works 24-hour shifts, and sometimes he comes home at 7 a.m. and doesn't have the brain capacity to do anything other than take his socks and shoes off and lay in the bed. I can understand that. I can validate his feelings when he comes home. We do not have to have a fight about the fact that, dude, you couldn't take the extra 3 seconds to put your socks in the hamper, or crazy story, because this goes deeper for me in the sense of we have a hamper that's split into 3 sections that says darks, whites, and colors. They're pre-separated. Why are your black socks in the white container? How, Sway? It takes you 2 seconds to read and put it in the right one. It's the same. They don't go nowhere. It's the same side. The dark clothes go in the left side. It's never changed. It will never change. That's the way it's been set up. And yet somehow your white shirt ended up in the colors and your red underwear ended up in the white clothes. And I have to go triple check before my white socks turn pink. I could fight and argue about that. That was really intense. I need to get that off my chest. Thank you guys so much for listening to my TED Talk about laundry. But I say all that because sometimes I can just get really, really upset that I don't understand why you can't do something as basic as sort laundry. But I can't invalidate his situation, what he's going through and what he's feeling. The same way he doesn't get to invalidate me by saying laundry is stupid, Jasmine. It's not that deep. You don't have to go that into it. Like maybe you're being overworked and overwhelmed in other areas. Didn't nobody ask you why this was important to me or whether or not I'm overworked. I might be overworked, but that does not mean that this is not important to me. Separate your clothes. We don't have to go into the PTSD that I have growing up when it comes to separating and sorting laundry. Completely unnecessary. You don't have to agree with me. You just have to validate the fact that this matters to me. And it would be really, really awesome if you could try and then I can try to not nag and complain, because I understand that you work really, really hard. And sometimes you just don't have the brain capacity when you come home. Boom, look at that. We stopped fighting. We no longer have to discuss something as trivial as laundry when it comes to a marriage, because trust me, there are plenty of other things that are worth fighting for. Not how come you put the forks in the spoon container when you did the dishes. Because it's little things like that that irk my spirit. But there are plenty of things that I do that bother the mess out of him. And so rather than fight about those little things, we can learn to validate the feeling and validate why this matters to the person, and then agree to disagree and find a way to compromise. It happens in all relationships. Validation is a superpower. It says, I hear you, not I'll join your cult. So try this week. Find one moment to validate someone, and then notice what shifts. When your partner rages about dishes, just go, you're right. The fork placement was disrespectful. And then DM me your stories and your wins. You can message me on Instagram at breathe_easy_coaching or on TikTok at lifecoach_Jasmine, and then watch the magic happen. Remember, you don't need permission to be great. And this is your call to rise, to reclaim your power, and to step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I believe extraordinary potential lives in all of us. The dreams we've tucked away, the voice that was softened, and the fire that's been waiting to burn bright. This journey isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about shattering expectations and embracing your truest, most unapologetic self. No more shrinking or waiting for permission. The world needs your brilliance, your resilience, and your unique light. It's time to stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I am more than enough. Your next chapter begins now. Let's write it with courage, audacity, and unshakable belief in who you are. The unstoppable person isn't born, they're awakened. And that person is you. Now go start your revolution. This world needs your unshaken light today.